Hello, Contrarians, watchers, listeners, subscribers. Here we are at the beginning of year 11, and we're starting with a bang, a literal bang. And the man holding the gun is Clint Eastwood.
Several. Yeah.
Well, several, yes, but I think wouldn't you say the most memorable bang in the movie is the one that the last shot he shoots to his nemesis, and that was Clint Eastwood saying, "I'm here, not going anywhere. I am not a cowboy past my prime." And yes, of course, we're talking about Unforgiven. Very fresh movie. The movie that somewhat brought back the Western genre, only for it to go away a month ago when Horizon came out. And Kevin Costner just kind of proved that...
Ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. He aimed too high. He flew too high. Too close to the sun, but we might talk about Kevin Costner in a minute. Let's introduce Unforgiven properly. We are starting year 11 of the Contrarians with Unforgiven, which is super fresh. It's at 96% on the Tomatometer. So on the main feed, on the podcast episode, we're gonna pick it apart, say not so nice things about it, and then we'll tell you how we really feel. Here we're gonna have a couple quotes from Rotten Tomatoes, fresh quotes, but we're starting year 11 of the Contrarians with a new segment. That we haven't come up with a name for it yet, so it's just gonna be called, until we come up with something better, it's gonna be called Let's Talk About the Trailer. And in it, we're going to talk about the trailer, because Alex and I, we are fans of trailers. We enjoy them. I generally enjoy them after the fact, after I've watched the movie, and I know the trailer is not going to spoil anything for me. That's when I just sit back and I just appreciate it. But sometimes, that can't be helped if you're going to the movie theater, they just throw trailers at you and you can't really avoid them. So anyway, Unforgiven hasn't been in theaters for the longest time. There's nothing to spoil by this trailer. But before we do that, we're going to do a couple quotes. And then we'll also, don't worry, the Josh Gad Minute's not going anywhere. So we're doing Josh Gad Minute. And Alex, of course, is going to have some trivia. Let's get started, Alex. Let's do the quotes. 96% of Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus reads, as both director and star, Clint Eastwood strips away decades of Hollywood varnish applied to the Wild West and emerges with a series of harshly eloquent statements about the nature of violence. Does he, though? I think that's the question that we ask throughout Contrarians Corner.
Definitely makes a gritty movie.
Yeah, I mean, there is violence.
Yeah.
I don't know about eloquent statements about the nature of violence, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't read too much commentary in this one.
It was just more like pow pow, death. Yes. I don't know that anybody has ever called Clint Eastwood eloquent.
No.
He's more on the quiet and somber type. Not much eloquence there. Brian D. Johnson, who from Maclean's magazine, who says, eloquent and expansive, Unforgiven is arguably the best film of Eastwood's career, a movie that could well serve as the last word on the Western. I don't know how much we got into it, Alex, in the episode. I don't remember, but where would you say you are percentage-wise as far as Eastwood's filmography? Like, I know you're more familiar than me from the early days, but
he has a ton of movies. Like, I've seen the big hitters, but if we're counting like everything that he's been in, I'm probably not even at 50%. I think there's two statements in that you could argue are still true, like the Clint Eastwood performance, and then also the final word on the Western, with the exception of, like, we talk about Yellowstone and a couple other movies that have come along since. I mean, this made it seem like the Western was back, and back in a big way, and it really wasn't. It was just this movie did really well, and there were some, because this was after Lonesome Dove, and so I don't know if there's been as influential a Western since this.
Definitely not influential. I think that we've had a couple of
seminal, as it would be.
They come back. I never watched it, but I remember Appaloosa, right? That was the name. Ed Harris and somebody else. Like, that looked like it was a thing. I never watched it. I think on the episode we call out 310 to Yuma, and I'm very vocal about how that movie doesn't work for me. And well, okay, we said we would bring him back, and let's bring him back now. Like, Kevin Costner, he's very much associated with westerns, not exclusively with westerns, but he is kind of like a dude that
both
does.
on land and at sea.
Yes. I mean, Waterworld aside, Dances with Wolves, Wyatt Earp. I want to say he has Open Range. Maybe that's him and Robert Duvall. That's another one that I haven't seen, but I feel like he's somebody who's tried to, take the ball from Eastwood and just keep running.
Mhm.
Like we said, he just fumbled, and I don't know how much of it is his fault and how much of it is just that the market is not there. I am not watching. I haven't watched Horizon Part 1, and I'm not planning to watch it because the idea of a 4-part, I don't know, a total of what, 8 hours or more Western, not for me. Is it for anyone? The box office would say no.
That's the thing I bring up in the episode. Bone Tomahawk is one of like my favorite movies of the past 10 years. And I think part of the struggle that movie faced and why still to this day it's not very well known is because there was such a hard time, because it is a Western. I mean, there's aspects of it that are very scary, but I think there was a hard time like marketing it to a modern audience. Yeah. I mean, this Kevin Costner, this recent thing is a pretty big example. Just do a miniseries, put it on TV, make it installment based. Because Yellowstone, people are fucking obsessed with that.
Yep.
But
Yeah. I mean, Costner, he's a feature film man. That's his dream, I guess.
mm-hmm.
That is insane. And you know what? Swing big. I mean, he Waterworld was also big swing, and
Oh yeah,
The Postman. I know that's not a Western. That's more like a sci-fi.
Forgot about The Postman.
Yeah, but that's him, and I think that's like 3 hours too. Like he likes his epics. This could have been, might still be. I mean, the final ultimate statement on everything that Kevin Costner loves. But there's something to be said for condensing all those elements to 2 hours, like Clint Eastwood does in Unforgiven, and that is the ultimate statement as far as the Western, at least so far. You're right. I mean, I don't know, listeners, watchers, throw your favorite Westerns at us. How do you think they compare to Unforgiven? Because that is really has anything been as iconic since?
What was the movie Costner was in? Was it called Swing Vote? Was that the name of it? Where the election came down to his singular vote?
Maybe. How about Draft Day?
Draft Day, I remember. Yes, Swing Vote of 2008. The poster's just fucking Costner. He's, rural America. And I think the candidates were Kelsey Grammer and Dennis Hopper, excuse me.
That's a tough choice.
The remake's Joe Rogan's gonna be the star, and his singular vote will determine if Donald Trump or Kamala Harris wins.
One more quote, Alex, because there's another Western figure. TV Guide staff from TV Guide says one of Eastwood's finest outings to date, an elegiac Western that ironically undermines the conventions of the genre, only to deliver a finale as legendary as the shootout at the OK Corral. The OK Corral, I'm pretty sure that's the one from Tombstone. Wyatt Earp and his people defending the OK Corral against some outlaws. I think I've seen Tombstone. I haven't seen Wyatt Earp. Also, somewhat infamously, I don't really think that Tombstone is all that. I know it's very beloved by most people. So I think it just proved that Westerns are really not my thing. But have you seen Tombstone? Have we talked about Tombstone before?
I have not seen that movie in a long enough time that I really haven't. I don't have much retained from it.
Well, Val Kilmer. That's he's playing.
I have Val Kilmer's face in that. Yeah, that's what I have memorized from that little mustache.
Actually, no. Kurt Russell would be the Kevin Costner role. Val Kilmer is like the sidekick, but everybody loves him. He's like Doc Holliday, and that is a Western that is more fun times. Just it's a blockbuster. There's a lot of like big names in the cast, but I think that nobody. I don't know. Prove me wrong, guys, but I don't think anybody would say Tombstone is on the same level as Unforgiven as far as like what it did for the genre or whatever. So. Give me Clint Eastwood.
It's a very famous movie, but it's I think that's fair. I think Unforgiven's kind of in the elite tier, the S tier, as they say.
Yeah. Give me the Clint Eastwood take on it.
Yeah, Tombstone was after, right? It was after Unforgiven.
No, 93, I think. Tombstone.
Yeah, Unforgiven was 92.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So that was the reaction. We just had a very gritty Western in Unforgiven. So now let's have fun with Kurt Russell and I
And
mean,
the gang.
some people die, but overall, I think that it's
Uh,
a more happy-go-lucky
it
western.
is the Wild West after all.
Yes, yeah, but wild. It could be wild and fun, and it could be wild and sad, like Unforgiven. Those are the quotes, Alex. Because now we're gonna talk about the trailer. You watched it. I sent you two links. One
Mhm.
was for the classic Unforgiven trailer. Another one was for the delightful now on VHS trailer.
Yeah, that would play before whatever movie you rented. Now available.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't watched it, just it's on YouTube. Just do. It's not like this one doesn't have like plenty of versions. There's not like a teaser with the Smashing Pumpkins song or anything. It's just straight
It's
up.
not a Nolan movie, which typically would have 4 trailers. You'd have
Yes,
the like teaser, and then the short like with a couple clips from the movie, then the first full trailer, and the second full trailer.
the
If that's
second
still a
one. Yeah, the second one gives you Matt Damon. It's like,
yes.
hey, there he is. What do you think, Alex? Uh,
Oh, it's classic '90s. It was a matter of honor, and then it's just a bunch of fading in from black and like faces and sound bites. You get in both this and the VHS commercial, Clint Eastwood having the line of "It's coming for all of us,"
yep.
and so they knew where to hang their hat on things that were important and whatnot. Something trailers did then, like you can watch trailers from the '70s and the '80s, and they're much more similar to like trailers from today than like those of the '90s and early 2000s. In that this trailer tells you the entire plot of the movie.
Yes, it does.
It tells you that there's a bad sheriff, that there's an old gunslinger that's kind of like in a bounty hunter mode. It tells you that there's a bounty, and it tells you why there's a bounty there, and it explains that the sheriff doesn't want these people to come in and collect. Nowadays, and like I said, back in the 70s and somewhat the 80s, you can watch a trailer and have no fucking clue what the movie's about. Or a big play in the 80s, a little bit early 90s too, was just making a trailer almost before the movie began production, or in some cases before the movie began production, and just use shit that never ends up anywhere close to the movie. That's Alien 3 on Earth. Everyone can hear you scream or whatever.
Everyone can hear you scream.
Remember that? The implication was it was going to be on Earth, and David Fincher was like, "What?" So, what I'm trying to say is, this is the sweet spot for movie trailers for me, because if you went to see Unforgiven in 1992 after seeing this trailer, you could not come out of the movie complaining that you had no idea what it was going to be about, or that the trailer was misleading.
Okay, so I can see that approach. At the same time, I don't like it. I don't need them to tell me the story. I need them to give me the pitch. But this trailer shows you basically, because towards the end it says some things are unforgiven or whatever, and it's like, I don't know if it's because I knew what it was or because it really is that obvious. But they show you that Morgan Freeman is dead outside the.
Well, you don't see Morgan Freeman, but you do see a standing coffin. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like I see it on the trailer, so then I spend the entire movie waiting for it to happen. And so the closer it gets to the end, I'm like, where is the coffin? Somebody's dying, and it's gonna be one of the people I care about. So I think it's gotten worse now. I'm with you. Like the trailers now, they may not give you the story, but they'll spoil the hell out of the ending, even if you're not sure at the time that you're watching. Shots from like the climax. You're just like, oh, the. Let's say Captain America's punching somebody in a very specific way. You spend the entire movie waiting for that punch to happen. It gets worse. It's just that kind of stuff I don't like. I do like the trailers that just manage to give me like an image, and I think that they could have done it in this one because Clint Eastwood tells you everything you need to know. Oh, it's old Clint Eastwood versus Gene Hackman.
Mhm.
I mean that's
They
enough, I think, to sell the movie.
yeah, hilariously, they give a credit in the trailer to Richard Harris, and they
Yes.
show like how he gets run out of town on a fucking horse-drawn carriage, all bloody and shit. Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's why the Prometheus trailer is one of the greatest trailers of all time, because it
Yeah.
gives you just a taste.
Yeah.
It's,
This the one thing that I'm not sure captures, and that might have been good, I don't know. I don't think that it tells you how grim and depressing the movie is going to be. Like, I don't think they paint it as a like
it
fun
does have like
western,
some of
but
the voiceover of like a true tale of the old west. It's something they put some verbiage in it, like this is how how things used to be, and it was definitely violent. The trailer definitely prepares you for like bloodshed.
but do you think it prepares you for how much of a downer it is?
No, I'm going to tell you, Clint Eastwood killed women and children,
I'm not
and
that
now
mad anymore.
he's back on the wagon or off the wagon. I always forget. I fuck that up all the time.
You fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not on the unless it's a killing wagon. I don't know. The VHS trailer is, it's cute. It's just like a compressed version of the main trailer, but it
The flying
boasts.
text now available on home
Yes,
video.
but then it has a little statues. It's like
Mhm.
winner 4 Oscars, and so it gets to boast that best picture, best supporting actor, and then the other two was what, cinematography and sound, I think.
Editing.
Editing, yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool. Those I like. Those are after the
Yeah.
fact. You know, you already know it won the Oscar. It's all good. Do you, when you sit down to watch a movie from your physical collection, do you skip the trailers, or do you do the full experience where you just let them all come at you?
I see what they are first, and then like if I care, I'll watch it. But otherwise, no.
That's cheating, man. You just gotta sit through them like you would at the movie theater. You don't get to fast forward.
That's the benefit of physical media. I can do that because if I watch streaming now, I have to pay more to skip through trailers and shit. So yes, I'll skip any trailer I want to on my videos, and my DVDs.
All right. That is the Unforgiven trailer. We recommend you watch it. It's especially if you've seen the movie. It's kind of cute to see them sum up the movie in like less than 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you like trailers, I think that's what we'll say every time we do this. If you enjoy that aspect of it, 35 years later for a movie, or 32 years later for a movie like this, it's always tickling to go back.
Yeah, but there's not like there are trailers that we love that just transcend. Like, I was kidding about the Smashing Pumpkins, but that teaser for Watchmen, that is something that I would tell anybody to watch, whether
Yeah.
they like the movie or not, whether they like trailers or not. Like, this is cool. This is cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
Prometheus, but yeah, no, this one not quite, but still, it's fun. It's a trailer from the '90s. It has a voiceover. It's good stuff.
It's not that guy. It's close to it, but it's not the in a world. It's not that guy.
No, he's trying though.
Oh yeah,
he's doing his
going for
best. All right, let's move on to the Josh Gad Minute. Let's throw Josh Gad back to the Wild West. Who is he going to play, Alex? And I think during the episode, you pretty much revealed what your pick was going to be.
I don't know how you can go with anything but W.W. Beauchamp, the biographer that comes along with English Bob. Like, I really don't. I was looking over the cast more, and it just nothing would really make sense unless you just want to do the thing where he's like an extra, and you can he has like a line or something. He doesn't take Lachlan Monroe's spot because Lachlan Monroe's got to stay, but he's one of the guys in the bars. It would be too easy also to make him the portly fellow that everyone calls fatty and makes fun for being big.
Yeah.
I guess if you wanted to go dark with it, he could be the guy that cuts up Dolores.
That's what I was
Delilah.
thinking.
Delilah, excuse
me.
His
friend.
No, make him the bad guy.
The one we want to see die.
Yeah, because that scene would be too hard with Josh Gad just like crying out and like bleeding out and dying slowly. But I think you could inject a bit more comedy to the Beauchamp character, the biographer, and that gives you ample opportunity to see what chemistry between Gene Hackman and Josh Gad would have been like. Those scenes where he's taking notes and listening to his stories and shit. So aside from the physical stature of the character, I think it because you're not like he's not going to be part of the crew. So I think the opportunities presented there would best benefit the Gad.
What if you put Josh Gad through boot camp, and so he toughens up a little bit? Would you, in any universe, like buy him as the kid?
No, I just can't see Josh Gad kill him, dude. Even though, like, obviously the kid immediately regrets it and like wants to change his life afterwards, but I don't know. Also, a benefit of that role is the gentleman who plays the Schofield kid. We didn't even talk about his real name in the episode. Jaimz. Himes? James? Wolvet, excuse me. So he did other things, but I still don't really know him from Joe A, B, or C. So I think it's important that role isn't distracting in its star power. Like if it was Brad Pitt or some shit, it'd be like, huh? So what I'm trying to say is the Gad's too big of a star for it.
I want that Eastwood Brad Pitt team up now. Amazing.
Just grunting back and forth at each other.
Yeah, I know you're right. I just, I wish sometimes even the best actors just can't play every single role. So sometimes you got to play to your type. And in this case, yeah, the Beauchamp character, it is very much a Josh Gad type. So we're going to go with that. Josh Gad, if you have any issues with that, you can talk to a producer. We can just move you to a different project. All right, that was the Josh Gad Minute. Let's go to trivia, Alex.
In the episode, we talk extensively about the Academy Award nominations and victories that Unforgiven had at the 1993 Academy Awards. So if that's what you're interested in learning about, you know where to go to find the information. This was released on August 7th of 1992, a budget of a little over $14 million for a box office return of close to $160 million. Made bank. Did well for itself. I did notice this. The final screen credit reads, dedicated to Sergio and Don. This referred to Clint Eastwood's mentors, Sergio Leone and Don Siegel. So, not forget where he came from. Respect it.
Yeah. I know Tarantino's a big Don Siegel fan. I'm sure he loves Leone too, but that's what it reminded me of. In that, I've seen a couple of Sergio Leone movies, and it is Eastwood taking their work and I guess funneling it into the next level. But I wonder, I think I might have even said it on the episode. Like, I don't know if there is a record somewhere on the internet that tells us how those two, assuming they were still alive, like felt about Unforgiven. They might have been dead by then. I don't know. I'm trying to think of when the last Sergio Leone movie was. But whatever. I would like to see like how somebody that knew the Western genre in and out, how they felt when they saw this reimagining, this updating of it by Eastwood. Would be interesting.
John Wayne would have been dead at that point, but he just storms the screen and starts slashing it down.
He would have been shocked, appalled at the fact that Morgan Freeman had that much screen time.
Yeah, no shit. The score was arranged by Lenny Niehaus, but the main theme was written by Clint Eastwood, which he obviously had a hand in the music in some of his other movies to come, so that makes perfect sense. Clint Eastwood's mother, Ruth Wood, toiled through an uncomfortable day wearing a heavy dress as an extra, filming a scene where she boards a train. However, the scene was eventually cut, with her son apologizing that the movie was too long and something had to go. All was forgiven when he brought her to the Academy Awards and thanked her in his acceptance speech.
Oh, yeah. She got to see him win.
He's like, see, if I hadn't cut that scene, it might have been too long. I thought I won it.
Meanwhile, Scorsese's mom is like, I never get cut, no matter how long the movie is.
It was the third movie, it was the third Western to win Best Picture.
So what are the other two? One of the spaghetti Westerns, Once Upon a Time in whatever?
Cimarron from 1931 and Dances with Wolves, to bring it back to our boy.
I'll have you know, Alex, because I just looked it up. Sergio Leone died in 1989. Didn't quite make it to Unforgiven. And Don Siegel, 1991. Also didn't make it. Damn it. Clint.
Right at the cutoff. I think that's probably why the dedication was in place there. In the early 80s, Francis Ford Coppola got the script and met with John Malkovich to offer him the role of William Money. Malkovich recalled, "The offer was not very serious, thank God. I say that for myself and for the poor public, and for Clint, obviously. I would have been a total failure. Total. Who would have wanted to see that? I wouldn't.
I would.
I would have just been acting schmacting," is what it says here. "There are some things you can only have the kind of mythic figure which Clint is." Malkovich worked with Clint Eastwood on In the Line of Fire and Changeling, which I had to look up Changeling because I remember that movie and I did not remember Malkovich being in it, but apparently he is.
Yeah, me either. I remember Angelina Jolie and the guy from Burn Notice. What's
Yes.
Which one would you rather have, Alex? Unforgiven starring John Malkovich, or Being John Malkovich starring Clint Eastwood? So being Clint Eastwood.
We talk in the episode about Clint Eastwood's, I think, lane that he stays in. I don't want to call him limited. There's no world where Clint Eastwood can make that scene as funny as when John Malkovich gets hit in the head with that soda can on the side of the highway. So I think the universe worked out as it was intended to.
It's my head, Schwartz. I just can't believe
My head. The movie laid to rest Clint Eastwood's long-standing statement why he would never win an Oscar. Eastwood reckoned he would never be in the running because, quote, "First, I'm not Jewish." Clint Eastwood, a long line of problematic statements, and what a kickoff there. Secondly, I make too much money. Always humble. Thirdly, and most importantly, because I don't give a fuck. Since it's a double Oscar win for this movie, Eastwood has gone on to win 2 more Oscars as well as a Irving Thalberg Memorial Award and has been nominated for an additional 6.
He has also converted to Judaism.
Jesus. He also has since yelled at a empty chair that he
Yep.
was pretending had, was it Barack Obama?
Yep.
Jesus. Well, we
it's
mentioned
a good
John
movie.
Wayne earlier. Yeah. We mentioned John Wayne earlier, and when you go back and read some of the quotes that the Duke had, it's not that surprising. Much like reading that, it's like, well. So to close on here, I wanted to talk about kind of interesting because, again, this isn't a movie that I would say like I can recite page and verse, nor do I really look too deep into it. But this is in regards to the literary allusions. Unforgiven shares many parallels with Homer's Iliad in characters and theme. In both works, the protagonists, Achilles and William Money, are self-questioning warriors who temporarily reject the culture of violence only to return to it after the death of their closest male friend in which they are implicated. Money and Achilles have the same dilemma between fate and counterfeit. They know that their fate is being a warrior and likely dying that way. However, they both try to reject it, at least for some time. Money continually claims that he's changed and ain't like that no more, referring to his warrior-like hitman past, whereas Achilles continually refuses to be a soldier in the Greek army because he condemns Agamemnon, for stealing his captured bride as war spoil. Neither wants to kill for causes from their past, since they will find them unjust, but are committed to a higher cause, Money to his children and wife's wishes, and Achilles to the injustice of women stealing and to Briseis for who at one point would have had to sacrifice Agamemnon to stop war. However, when their best friends are killed, they allow their rage and desire for vengeance to make them return to their warrior-prescribed fate. Achilles rages against the Trojans and kills many. He gets vengeance by killing Hector and desecrating his corpse, dragging it around town. Money rages against Little Bill and his crew. He gets vengeance by killing them, and Little Bill threatening to kill anyone who opposes him. He fucking blows Gene Hackman's head off with a shotgun.
Yep.
There are, however, relevant differences in Homer's epic and Eastwood's film, namely Achilles is fated to die in battle, whereas Money moves to California at the end of the film and becomes a businessman to provide for his kids. A little bit different.
Yeah.
He gets the happy ending there. Whether money had successfully countered his warrior fate is unclear, as is whether a life in dried goods redeemed him as his love for his wife had done. So interesting to think about. I found,
Yes, that never even crossed my mind, and I like the Iliad. Fine, I love the movie Troy, much to people's puzzlement. Speaking of Brad Pitt,
William Friedkin, fuck him and fuck Alexander.
um, if Eastwood wanted to keep going with the parallels and actually had William Money die the way that Achilles dies, because Achilles is killed by Paris, who is not what you would say a warrior, or at least not a warrior on the level of like Hector and the other big titans of the Iliad. So it would be as if William Money was killed by Beauchamp at the end, right? Like
Lachlan Monroe.
Or Lachlan Monroe. Yeah, one of the nameless like flunkies of Gene Hackman's. They just shoot him in the heel, the Mooney heel, and then he goes down, and that's it. And then I would have gotten. I was like, oh my god, it's just like the Iliad. And we're missing a Trojan horse too.
Yeah,
still interesting. I appreciate.
Imagine that fucking like Clint Eastwood sneaks himself and he like guts a horse like it's fucking tauntaun and like has it like pushed into town. Then he jumps out.
Good stuff. I learned something today.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, there is a lot more Unforgiven talk on the actual episode. So check out your pod feeds, your podcatchers, or you can check out this YouTube channel. The episodes are there as well. Thank you for watching this. If you like it, do the thing, like it, subscribe. All you Clint Eastwood fans that want to yell at us because we made fun of your hero, go for it. That's fine. We can take it. At the same time, if you like Eastwood, but you acknowledge that he can be a little problematic sometimes, go for it. You can also agree with us there. More importantly, if you like the movie, just tell us what you like about it, what doesn't work about it. We're all about that. Coming up next, we switch gears in a major way. We're going from the gritty violence of Unforgiven to the songs and the color of Moana. We're doing a Disney movie. I'm not going to lie to you, a little opportunistic. We know that Moana #2 is coming out very soon. And so we figure, why not?
Get Dwayne in a Western. That's the next step.
Yes. Yeah. Why not? We know that he's had his fill of superhero movies. So maybe it's time for him to revive the Western. Costner can't do it by himself. But yeah, watch Moana if you haven't. Alex hasn't. So this is going to be a first time for him. And check out our upcoming episode on that. Also, watch Unforgiven and listen to our current episode on that. But until then, thank you for watching, for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.